Hello, my dear. Rhonda Constant, your favorite hometown medium, physical energy healer, oracle card advisor, paranormal investigator, voice for your loved ones. Um, don't remember if I've done a reading for you before, but anyway, just like to explain, I see, hear, feel, sense, know. They talk to me, but they also show me pictures, and I call it spiritual charades. And I try to describe the picture the best I can. They never waste a message. There's always a reason for whatever they show or say. So if it doesn't make any sense now, keep it in mind because you'll either see it later, remember it later, or somebody else will validate it for you later and go, oh, I know what he's talking about. And this is not an exact science. We communicate the best way we can. So sometimes you got to stretch it outside the box a little bit. It's not always a perfect fit, but they should give me just, excuse me, won't give me all the details, but they should give me just enough so you understand what they're talking about. So we're going to talk to Stephen today. And he comes almost like pushing through, like kind of charging in. And he's shaking his finger at you. He said, I knew what I was doing. I knew what I was doing. Didn't think it would go that far. Wanted to try it. Not anybody else's fault. Mine. I did it. Willingly. Shouldn't have been doing any of it. And he's being all, not proud. Proud isn't the word I want to use, but very strong, very forceful about it. There's nothing wussy about what he's saying. Almost like demanding, like, this is what I did. You can't blame it on somebody else, type of thing. And he's being almost like, he's kind of moving his arms kind of like that, like, and I'm not thinking of the right word I should use to describe the energy, the way he's coming across. Forceful. Tell her I love her. Damn it, it's not time for you to go yet. Keep your ass right there. What are you learning from this experience? There's people that were around me that are going to learn something by me leaving the way I left. And he's hitting himself on the head. He's going in. Some of them just don't get it. They don't get it. They didn't learn a damn thing. Excuse me. He's talking about babies and puppies. So I don't know if somebody's having babies or somebody's having puppies or baby puppies, or I felt like it was an actual baby and puppies, two different babies. But he's not explaining it. Sometimes they just put words out. It's his show. He can do it however he wants to. He says there truly are angels among us. He says they're everywhere. We just don't know it. They're to support us. Okay, he wants me to explain. We all have free will choice. We can do whatever the hell we want to. My guides are always up there going, Rhonda, why are you doing that? We gave you this good stuff and you chose something else. Whole life is about choices. You choose what color card to buy, what street that you want to buy a house on. You choose who to marry. You choose. It doesn't just, it's not forced on you. So but where I'm going with this is what he wants. There are angels among us. They cannot override that free will choice that we do. But you have to ask them for help. You have to ask and then you have to allow. And he says they're like he's showing like they're all around you. They're all around you, but they're standing there waiting because there's really not much they can do because they can't override your free will choice. Ask them. You don't have to know their names. You don't have to know who they are. They're there. Just ask the angels that are, good God, it feels like a herd here right now. Wow. Just ask the ones that are all around you. And just say it that way. Ask them for what you want. He says, no, I can't come back. Don't want to. Just ask them for help. Ask them to guide you on what your next step should be in your path. Ask them, but then you have to be willing to accept what happens. Like you'll get a phone call from somebody out of the blue that'll be perfect for. Usually I tell people you need to have that vision out there of what you want at the end of your path, and then let all the shit go in between and let them bring that to you to help guide you up that path to that ultimate goal. But this feels more like, at least for right now, you just need to ask them for help. He says, ask them for peace. Don't beg, which I've done lately. Don't yell at them, which I've done lately. I should practice what I preach. Just, he is very adamant about you. Wow, there's a bunch of them around you. You can't feel them. Ask them to make their presence known. Ask them to bring you a sign. I don't know if a sign will come through from angels, though. I'm not sure that's. He said, do not ask them for answers about the questions that you ask me. That's not their goal. That's not their job. Not those kind of things. It's more about personal peace, healing. He said, just ask them for help with that. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, like I said, don't ask him for things that you would ask me to do or me to get answers for. He's being very, very, very adamant about this. Ask him for things that are personal for your growth, for your soul, for your well-being. Ask him for the peace. And he says closure. So I'm assuming he's talking about closure, about him leaving the way he left. Now he's saying closure, 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 closure. Closure doesn't mean that you, in this case, how do I want to say it? Closure doesn't mean that it never existed, that you don't care, that you don't love him, that it happened, it's done. He wants you to have closure on that. And it's not letting go of him in any way, shape, or form. He said, actually, it'll be better. It's going to raise your vibration. You'll be able to hear him better. Okay, he's talking about coffee and hot chocolate. You're going to get these smells. You can be in the store, you can be outside, you can be in your car. Doesn't matter where you are. Coffee or hot chocolate. When you get that whiff and you smell it, that's him saying hello, letting you know that he's still there. Validate him, acknowledge him, let him know you know that's a sign and that he's with you. Tell him you love him. He said he's all about healing you. And he's showing like this. He's making steps towards finding a way to help heal you. This is one. He said it's all about you now. It's all about you now. Say it again. He said he's fine. He's perfect. He's at peace. No, you're not holding him back. And I always tell people they think if they talk to him too much, I promise you 1,000% he can hear you, he can see you. But people think if you talk to him too much or um, things like that, that you hold them here and they can't go do what they need to go do or where they're supposed to go. He said he's fine. You can't tie a rope on him and hold them down here. So people need to quit thinking that. They'll go where they need to go and learn what they need to learn. But he'll still be here with you. Talk to him. He says once, oh, I see him again. You've got a whole shit ton of angels all around you. I don't usually see that. Um, he says once you heal the aspect of forgiving him for what he did. He says, because yes, I did this. Not intentionally to leave. So it wasn't like he was trying to leave. He just did something that caused him to leave. He says, once you forgive him, you have to forgive him for yourself. He says, and for me, which it does affect him, but a lot of them come through and ask for forgiveness, but it's more for yourself. You have to forgive him for, he says, for being a dumb shit. You have to forgive him for being a dumb shit and doing stuff he shouldn't have, right? And even if you don't think you're blaming him in that way, somewhere in there you are, he wouldn't say that. Ask those angels to help you let that go, and you'll have a better relationship with him. I'm not sure how we're gonna define that, but he says you're mad, you're pissed off, you're angry. It is what it is. Now it's time we take care of you. You always took care of me. Were you kind of like a second mom to him? Kind of like when mom wasn't around, it's like you were the mom. You made sure he was okay. You feel like you let him down in some way concerning this. He said, you did not let me down. It was my free will choice. So forgive me for yourself. Know that I'm always with you. He said there will be happier times ahead. Let's hope so. Everybody wants that. He says, giddy up, cowboy, giddy up. He didn't appear to look like a cowboy. Not sure where he's going with that either. Are you around a cowboy and somebody has horses? Somebody wears cowboy boots? I don't know where he's going with the giddy up cowboy. How could you think I don't love you enough because I did what I did? You didn't think I loved you enough to stay. Okay. So what I've been taught is we come into this life with an exit point. It can be when you're 1 day old. It can be when you're 100 years old. Whatever that timeline is, it can waver a little bit depending on what's going on around you. how it's going to affect people around you, what they're going to learn from it. We're all here to learn. Yeah, I hate it. I keep telling them, give me some easier lessons to learn from. There's got to be a nice way to learn. But the ones that kick you in the ass are the hardest. The ones that kick you in the ass the hardest are the ones you're going to really learn from. Oh, light bulb just went off for me. Sorry. So anyway, so it was his time. It was his time. So whether it was this or a car crash or some other form, it was going to happen in this time frame. If that makes sense. I hope I explained it. He says, so it's really nobody else's fault because it was just time to go. You know how people always go, well, when your number's up, your number's up. With kinda. So, oh, well, I was looking at your questions. Yeah, I live in Kansas too. So when I asked him, were you thinking about leaving Kansas? He said yes. Kind of wishy-washy about it. He hadn't quite made up his mind yet, but it was something that he was strongly thinking about doing, looking into. But he still felt like he was tied to Kansas. Yep, he's not saying anything. He's asking you, where do you want to go? There's something, where is it? There's something that's kind of buried in you, like you would like to go somewhere else, but you always keep shoving that down. And it's not really, doesn't even come to present itself like full force in your face kind of thing. But it does pop up it is there kind of niggling on you. That's how he says it. Naggling on you. He says naggling, not nagging. He's putting an L in there. That's kind of cute. Maybe that's something he used to say. It's just like kind of like there's something there. Maybe you don't know what it is. It's there. It's there. But he's not saying how far you would even consider going, or where you would consider going. He's not giving up that much information. Something about higher perspective, looking at it from a higher perspective. He said he's not sure you have the ability to do that, but he wants you to think about it. And I'm not sure what he means by higher perspective, because when I think of higher perspective, I'm thinking God, Jesus, angels, way. That's to me. He says, nope, not quite that high. Not quite that high. Okay, so how about this? I'm going to have an argument. I don't know. He's not explaining. Anyway, if you're sitting here in your chair and you look around at the room, go, okay, well, yeah, it's just same old shit. If you go stand on the kitchen counter and you look at the room, you get a whole different perspective. It's a little, he says that's close. It's a higher perspective. It's not because you're standing high on the counter, so don't go jumping on the counter, but you need different perspective. You need to get out of this and get a little higher perspective of the whole situation. He says your life. He's not even talking about his situation when he left. I asked, okay, he said he tried to get a hold of you the night that he passed, but it wasn't about that he was passing. It wasn't like you could have run and saved him. It wasn't, it was about something totally different. He says about some bullshit. It was just about some bullshit. He did not know he was going to go. Peaceful. It was peaceful. He said, you just go night night. And he's back to the higher perspective. So you need to look at that part from a higher perspective also. Again, he says, happier times ahead. Release, release, release. Everything happens for a reason. Look for the silver lining. Look for the reason. Even in this, even in things like this, there is a silver lining, or there is a learning experience. But it's, well, that's not really the same thing, but they're both there. And he says, where do you want to see yourself 5 years from now? 5 years. Where do you want to see yourself? I asked him if he means an exact location or something within. And he said, one, an exact location. Where do you want to see yourself? Keep looking at that. Because evidently there's something in there. Where do you want to see your heart 5 years from now? So it's two different things, two different pictures. So you got two different pictures you can put out there. Tell your angels. Tell your angels, and then don't worry about the details in between here and there. Let them, but you still have to take the steps. You can't just sit on your ass and expect it to be right here. You still have to take the steps, but you don't have to. It won't happen exactly like you think it's supposed to happen, or like maybe you think it should happen, that you get that way. Let them bring in the opportunities, but you have to be willing to accept them. He said he is there to guide you part way. He wants you happy. I don't know if he's going to give a lot of validations. He's talking about something burning, and then he says burning sage. Sorry, I got a froggy throat today. So if you don't burn sage, he wants you to burn some sage. You can Google, YouTube, whatever, how to burn sage if you don't do it. And then my eyes were drawn to burn and release. I have written down here in front of me, my eyes. So release your anger towards him. Yes, you do have anger towards him. He says you do. You're pissed off that he left. You're pissed off that he did what he did. Burn that sage, crack the door open, and let that go with the smoke. And let the angels transmute. Oh, they're all around you again. Wow. You have way more help than you know. And they're not the kind that are going to leave little signs. They're not going to be tapping on the wall, or they're totally around you to support you. Just start talking to them. He says they won't put up with a lot of blah, blah, blah. Shit. You can blah, blah, blah to him all you want to, but he's very adamant about you doing this. But the angels, they kind of need like a simple, this is what I'd like to see. Write it down. I make a list. I try to do it every morning, but I haven't been very good at it lately. I did it last night. 5 things every day, so that our little squirrel brain doesn't. It flips around. I want this. I want it blue. No, I want it yellow. No, I want it green. I mean, we do that all the time with all kinds of stuff. If you write it down, your intention of what you want is very clear. Don't get elaborate with it. Just write down, this is what I'd like to see, or this is what I'd like to feel. And that's more their department. And again, my eyes were drawn to my sage. He says, I love you. I'm here to help you. And I can help you in a way that I could not help you here because I was too busy being party boy. Not very, nope, he didn't finish that. He says, now is the time for you, and they're all coming in to help you. Allow it. I don't know what he's doing. He's spinning, turning around, pointing at the sky. Ceiling or sky? Now he's pointing at the ceiling inside the house. I'm assuming it's your house. And he's showing me flashes of light. So, do it again. Okay, so it's like, I don't want to say it's even orb, but it's going to look like orb. Yeah, crap. I'm not sure how to describe this. It's like a pinpoint of light, pinpoint of light, like he points at the ceiling and there's a pinpoint of light, and he points at the ceiling and there's a pinpoint of light, and then he does it over here. So I don't know whether or not you're going to get orbs, because this isn't like orbs. And you're just going to see these little pricks of light every so often. A lot of times, majority of the times, when we see things like that, it's in our peripheral vision, but I'm not even sure this will be in the peripheral vision. This is different. Like, you might see it out of the corner of your eye, and you look and you think, oh, that was my imagination. So that's going to be another sign from him, but there's something way more to it, but I'm not sure he's going to get that point across. You could try, like if you're laying on the couch at night and it's fairly dark, you could try taking pictures, but I don't think these are orbs. I think it's because he's pointing and it's like almost like a laser coming out of it. But I don't see it from the end of his finger, but I see it on the ceiling. Wherever he points, there's a light, there's a light, there's a light. So once again, when you see these little flash of light, validate him, acknowledge him, tell him you love him, so he knows that you got it, that you saw it, and ask him to bring you more. So usually I ask them for a couple of validations that it's them, but he's not giving me any other than the coffee, hot chocolate, and the points of light. Points of light, points of light. Why is that sticking in my head when he said that? Points of light. Keep those words in mind, points of light. I don't know where that's going to come up for you, where it says points of light. I guess I could try to Google it and see what that says, or ask Alexa and see if there's something to it. So you might try looking into those. There's something very, very strong about the way he said that, points of light. Keep those words in mind. Know that if you hear that or see it, pay attention to what's going on around you right at that exact moment. Is there something being said on the TV? Are you in your vehicle when he's showing in the house? Something on the TV, you might pay attention to exactly what's going on at that moment, or the radio, or whatever you're reading, or whatever flashes up on your phone or Facebook, or whatever happens at that point will be important. I love you. You should always remember that. He says you were a guiding light to him, even though he says I was kind of like this, happy-go-lucky, yeah, let's go play. He said that you were a very strong, permanent influence for him, where you were there and he always knew you were there. Like his rock. He's not saying like his rock though, but that he's almost showing you like a stone pillar, like you're there, you knew you'd always be there. You were his grounding base if he needed to run to it, that he knew he could find you, that his security. He says, but you have to let me go. But I'm not that far away. I'm just around the corner. And that's actually the way they show me all the time. Some of them will even go around my corner and then peek out at me. Like they're just on the other side of the wall. They're just on the other side of something you can't quite see. He says you have to trust that he's there and he's there to help. Ask and then be ready to receive and allow it. He says you still may not be ready yet. I love you. He's trying to call you a nickname and I can't quite hear it. Coochie coo, coochie coo, cooter coo. Something that's one of them you're gonna have to stretch outside the box. We kind of suck at names, and nicknames count, and I don't know why. Hoochie coo. Now he's singing La Cucaracha. Cucaracha? You don't want me to sing Cucaracha? Is that, I'm assuming Mexican song, I'm not sure. Castanets? I don't know the words of that song. Okay. Anyway, he says, here's your food for thought. He says, start working on it. And oh, the angels that are all around you, they all just kind of leaned over and they've all got a piece of paper and a pen. I've never seen an angel do that. Angels in disguise. So there could be some earthly angels around you that you may not even realize. These may not all be angels up there. These could be angels that are already here in human form. Is that possible? I honestly don't know, but that's what he's saying and they're showing. But they're all bending over and they're all writing. So get your list out. You can go crazy with it a few times, but if you put too much stuff down, then it's still like the scrambled ideas in our head that we keep changing all the time. And I'm not saying your head's that way because I'm not tapped into really in your energy. But I do that, Oh, yeah, well, I think I'll buy that pink shirt. No, maybe the red one. Well, maybe the orange one. Write it down. Then they know what you want. Just don't be too elaborate. Okay, he's going like this, so he's done for now. He says he will come see you. If I don't know how long he's been gone, but if your grief is too strong still, it's like a wall, and you really will have trouble feeling him or hearing him or any of them, which to me is backwards because you really need it, when your grief is strong. But anyway, that's just the way it works. So probably the more you release, burn, release. Actually, my friend told me about that. Anyway, all right, my dear. Sorry it took me so long. I end up having to take several days off for the holidays and some other stuff going on, so I do apologize for that. Too much rambunctious stuff around my house during the holidays. Can't work. So thank you so much for being patient, and thank you for allowing me to be his voice. Rhonda Constant, your favorite hometown medium, physical energy healer, oracle card advisor, paranormal investigator, voice for your loved ones. Later.